All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Whitetails and Whiskey Podcast, Fresh Crack Friday, and I got a guest this time because Keith. Well, I'll let Keith tell the story, but Keith was gracious enough to give me this bottle, and so I figured what better way than to have him on the Fresh Crack and put it up against the Willet from last week. So that's what we're doing in this episode. Keith's been on the podcast before with me and Nate.
Yep.
And hope to have him back on again soon. And yeah, so I don't want to tell a little bit of the story about, how the bottle gifting came to be. I mean, you don't like me that much.
Oh, come on. So I didn't have a deer rifle for this season, so Ben was kind enough to let me borrow his 270 Remington for the season, and the deal was that at the end of the season, if I used that rifle, I would buy him a bottle of bourbon, and after a couple weeks of deciding, this is what he chose, and I picked it up last week, and here we are. I'm excited because I've never even heard of this before. So
Yep.
when he sent me the text with it, I'm like, okay, I'll grab it. And
Yep.
We're lucky enough to grab this one, and looking forward to trying it out today. So
Yeah, so this is my first Virginia one. I do have a port finish that I haven't opened yet either from John J. Bowman. But this is a Virginia distillery. They source their juice and then they redistill it in Virginia, and then you get your John J. Bowman product, which is really cool. Like I said, it's my first Virginia one we've done on the Fresh Crack, and I'm pretty sure it's my first Virginia whiskey I've ever had. So,
gotcha.
So we're gonna do the normal, fresh pop, fresh cork, fresh pour, all that good stuff. Try it out, and then we'll see if it can unseat the Willet that won last week. So, but yeah, this is a single barrel bourbon. That was another thing too that I wanted to say is this is the only one we've done so far that's a single barrel. So this bottle, there's only 200 some like it.
Wow.
So from that single barrel it came out of,
right?
Rather than like a small batch or like something widely distributed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other cool thing about the John J. Bowmans is they're single barrel bourbons. So
a little bit more rare.
Yeah, a little bit harder to find. They're a little bit. This one was at little small town, liquor store.
Yeah.
Literally.
So we found this in Cheshire, New York, which is out by my office. And when I walked in the liquor store, the guy working the counter was like, "Oh, what are you looking for?" And I told him, and he goes, "I don't know. I might not have that.
Yep.
I might have a bottle." And he told me, he goes, "We're not getting another one of these bottles, and I have no idea if we will get another one and when." So it was the last one, and you got there in time.
Yeah, it was tough for me to walk past when I sent it to you. I was like, I haven't seen a Bowman like all year.
Sure.
And I'm like, and I saw it, and I'm like, it's right down by where Keith works. I'm like, I'll just shoot him a text. If it's meant to be, it'll work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I appreciate it. And like I said, I wasn't expecting a bottle out of it. That was something you said. And, I told you I'd give you the difference on it if it was, more than you thought or whatever. But,
sure.
But no, I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, so, no worries.
So quiet on the set for the fresh cork pop. Ooh, that's sweet. That smells nice.
Ooh, that
smells really nice. So a nice cork pop. We usually get pretty good ones down here with the acoustics. It's not too bad. So,
it does smell sweet.
It smells really florally, really sweet.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that.
Nope. So, but yeah. So actually, 100 proof. So it's actually the highest proofed bottle we've done on the Fresh Crack too, which is something that we'll see. I typically lean toward higher proofs. I like my rare breed a lot, and stuff like that, and some of the other kind of cast strengths or some of the single barrels that are a little bit hotter.
Right.
So we'll see if this one's one to take it down on the Willet side, but that Willet one, I won't give it away. What I got out of it, I want to see if you get the same thing. I looked on dozens of different reviews, everything like that after I had it. Nobody tasted what I tasted with that one. I don't know why. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
Sure.
See what the Bowman.
It doesn't smell too potent.
No, not a lot of alcohol.
What I like to do is swirl it around and watch the sugars come down.
The legs, yep.
Yeah, how that goes. It's just a little different every. Because I mostly drink scotch, and with scotches, you can really see that as it comes down the glass with certain scotches.
It's sweet. It's almost like sounds weird. I guess I get like a sweet pea smell, like snap sugar peas.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, dude, you start drinking some of these whiskeys and these bourbons and scotches too, and you start picking up weird stuff like,
yeah,
I got grape scented marker with the Tin Cup 10-year. I don't know. This one I said smelled like clover, like a field of clover. I don't know.
It's like when I drink scotches, then I get one it tastes like moss.
Yep.
Or smells like peat moss. And I'm like, how is this possible?
Mm-hmm.
And if you explain that to somebody that has never tried it before,
right,
they look at you like you're nuts when you tell them that. And then as soon as you get that sniff, it like hits you like a brick wall.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of honey with it too, but definitely kind of like a snap pea almost kind of smell.
That's probably the sweetest smelling.
It's a pretty sweet smelling one. I mean, in 100, you're not getting much like ethanol, alcohol smell. Like you said, it's not harsh.
And what is this? 50% alcohol?
Yeah, 100 proof. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But I don't know. Give her a taste. Cheers.
Cheers. Now that's weird because it doesn't taste super sweet to me.
Nope. You definitely feel the proof. The 100 proof. It doesn't drink lighter than 100. I think it almost drinks a little bit hotter than 100.
Yep.
But I got that little bit of honey.
Mm-hmm. It's starting to burn a little bit in the back of the throat now.
But it's got that good pull.
Mm-hmm.
That nice feel good pull.
Yeah.
And then you feel it in your chest a little bit, or not got down to your chest.
No, it's like right here still.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I get a little bit in my chest. That's just, it almost overshoots my, my throat feel, and then I get it down in the chest a lot of times. Unless it's something like super hot, like.
No, it's interesting though, because this tastes like one of my favorite scotches.
Okay.
Like that sweeter, that Caribbean cask I was telling you about.
Yeah. Okay.
That to me to my taste buds, is sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from this. Is similar to that.
Yep.
That taste. So I was telling Ben, one of my favorites is a Caribbean cask, Belvini Scotch. If you guys have never had a chance to try that, I would highly recommend it. Sometimes it's hard to find. It's like $50 to $70 a bottle, but it's definitely worth trying if you can find a bottle. I'm going to get Ben one.
Well, we might have to find one for the fresh crack.
Yeah.
And I'm open to whiskey, scotches. We're doing, or did, actually, when you guys see this, we'll have done a potato vodka that's aged in new charred white oak barrels.
Ooh.
So we're trying that one on the podcast. So you can tune back to that episode and be able to watch that.
Cool.
Me and Nate have already sampled it, so it's not a fresh crack, but that'll be on the podcast. So we'll link the previous episode in this episode.
So I'm
still getting that honey.
What's your initial thought of I have my top 5 scotches that I like. What's your initial thought of this one?
It's good. I want to obviously try another sip, and I give these an initial rank or whatever. But once I get them down a little bit lower than what I call like the shoulder, is when I really start to like them. Like that Tin Cup 10-year, when I cracked it, I was like, man, this is a great way to start. I don't like this. And then, like I said, it ended up beating out a Blanton's, which again, the Blanton's is the same thing. It's going against a bottle that's fresh cracked.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people say that, the top of the neck drinks different than further down the shoulder, the bottle or whatever.
I did not know that.
So like there's a couple, like the Russell's 10s, just for an example, I love those. Like 2 drinks in, like the first 2, when I fresh crack one of those Russell's 10s, I like them over ice. But then after that, I don't know, it just mellows off, but it's still got a little bit of the rough. I don't know. It's tough to explain. Yeah, so I usually don't give them is it going to move in them? Is it going to knock my socks off? No, I think it's a really good drinker.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like probably 50, 52,
It
something
was
like that.
$59 after tax,
59 with tax.
which I
Yeah,
mean, to me, for
it's a nice bottle of bourbon.
yeah, for a good bottle of bourbon, any really
Hmm.
dark liquor, I think that's kind of the going rate now in
Yeah,
today's day and
especially
age.
for a single barrel.
Yeah,
It's actually on the low end for single barrels.
right.
So single barrels, you're going to get more into that 65 on the low end. So this
Mm-hmm.
is on that low end of single barrels, and then obviously it just ramps up. Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
but
So knowing that from my perspective, I think that's a pretty good buy
oh yeah,
from how I'm tasting
no,
it.
absolutely. This one I would definitely say the initial punch I like. I wish it had just a little bit more flavor going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll see if that Willet I still pick up what I picked up.
Mm-hmm.
When I had that. That's been open now for a bit. So like we were saying, different flavors might open up. You might taste different stuff.
Sure.
But no, I think this is a good buy. And again, you don't see them.
Right.
So if you see one of these, I would buy it. I really had a hard time not buying it, and I'm regretting it a little bit. I ended up with it, but I'm regretting it because it's a good set for sure.
Like I could see myself buying this bottle, put it on the shelf, and that's my go-to Friday night drink.
Yeah, not like an everyday drinker, but like end of the work week.
Yep. It's not, $100
Mhm.
bottle where I'm going to get it out, at special occasions.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like that's kind of my style. If I get a $50, $60 bottle, it's, you've had a long work week, you come home, sit down, crack one open,
Mhm.
especially this time of year when it's nasty out.
Yep.
Warm you up a little bit.
So I got honey, went down into the caramel, and then almost, I don't know if it's maybe the single barrel. Sometimes I get like a funk. I'm getting almost a little bit of barrel, wood chippy kind of barrel taste with that on the end.
Yeah,
like a bitter, like a little bit of bitter after the sweet, and I like how that rounds out in the second sip more than it did in the first.
Now that you say that little bit of bitter, but it's kind of like
it's at the end. It's
tanny,
like little tannin on.
It's like 10 seconds after your sip,
mm-hmm.
after it sits there. But yeah, the honey that kind of punches you in the face
mm-hmm.
a little bit on that initial sip.
Yep, it's definitely like a honey caramel sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it a corn sweetness because of the bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a damn good one, and it depends. Like I said, we'll see if I could pick up what I was getting in the Willet the other day,
mm-hmm.
and that's why I didn't tell you before because I wanted to see what you're gonna get. Every review I watched, I didn't find a single person that picked up what I did in that. So we'll grab a little half pour on the Willet, try it out, and I do like the weird bubble it makes with this one. I don't know how else to explain. It's just a weird bubble.
Thank you, sir.
And it just looks like a bigger pour because they're narrower glasses.
No worries.
And again, like always, I do a fresh pour glass, so there's no contamination. Nobody's saying, well, you got more, Bowman in that pour than you did, Willet. But so we'll see which is going to move on. The Willet Pot Still, which I thought this was a really nice one. It's definitely the top one now.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it can hold on with against the Bowman, but I don't know.
What a different smell.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That smells way different.
Yeah.
I don't think that smells like any whiskey I've ever had.
No, it was definitely a different smell. I was getting clover blossoms when I had it the other night, but now I'm almost getting like when I mow my clover, more of a green smell than a blossom smell. Almost like a fresh cut kind of hay, but not really.
I honestly don't know how to describe that smell. Like nothing is coming right up to the forefront of my mind to say, oh, it smells like this.
Well, I mean, we'll have a taste of it and see if it, sparks a connection between your, your nose and your mouth. We'll see. But
Definitely less sweet to me.
And there's the same note I got last time with it.
All right, tell me what you're thinking.
Burnt marshmallow with a graham cracker.
Burnt marshmallow.
With a graham cracker. Like a burnt s'more.
That's hilarious.
I've heard other people talk about it with different ones. But that's what I get. Maybe it's a little bit of the alcohol punch. This one almost it punches different.
It is different.
Yep. But I still get that like burnt, sugared, maybe a brown sugar kind of taste.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I can see
more
that.
with that one than but I kind of equate that to like a burnt s'more. It's kind of the flavor I got with it.
I probably had a lot less than you, but probably maybe 20 different bourbons. This is probably the most unique flavor I've ever tasted in smell.
It's different. It's definitely different. Like that's the first one that I've ever got like clover or blossoms florally smells.
Yeah,
and then to have the sugar, like s'more taste, I don't know.
Yeah,
it was different.
It is different. And it sounds really weird, but the initial smell of this smells like race fuel to me.
So you get a lot of ethanol kind of with it?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's different. I prefer the sweetness of the Bowman.
Yep.
That initial hit of sweet, which is weird because I don't like anything sweet.
Yeah. But it's a different kind of sweetness with
it.
Yep.
It is.
Like this is almost like a burnt sugar kind of sweet, whereas that one's more of your caramel, honey kind of lean.
That's definitely burnt sugar to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that is just something unique to this bottle, or is everyone going to be like that?
They're batched. So I know I was watching a review on them because I was trying to see if anybody else got like burnt marshmallow with it. Nobody did. Like I said, I must have watched a dozen different YouTube reviews, so I'm helping all the other YouTube viewers out there. Nobody else got that with it. Some other people got that floral kind of flower bud smell, but nobody got the flavor with it. But then I got watching a couple reviews, and if you look at different letterings, different wax seal stamps, they're different, sourced from here, sourced from there, all different stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't dig that deep into it with this bottle. So, again, and people were looking at different bottles side to side and saying they tasted completely different with different wax seals and sourced in years and batches and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I don't know what we would do if we had a split decision on which one's going to be the winner today. Either I don't know which one would move on.
I know which one. I know which one I would personally.
Well, I can tell by how much is in your glass.
Yeah, that John J. Bowman would not last long at my house.
Yeah. If you're looking for more traditional bourbon corn sweetness, this is a home run hit.
Right.
I agree. The Willet's got to hit you in the right mood for that.
Yeah, it would be. I would probably drink that at a different time of year.
I'm thinking like to tie to the s'more, campfire,
summer,
camping, summer.
Finanza.
Might be more of that with the Flora Finanza. That floral note would pick up, I think, a lot better in that. That's traditional caramel, vanilla, corn sweetness, whatever you want to call it. A really nice pour. And like I said, I'm gonna, I think, agree with you on the Bowman. God, I got a different note there at the end with this one.
Is it from mixing them?
I think it could be. It could be.
I
like
really,
one after the other with it.
I really enjoy the nose on the Bowman.
Yeah.
When I lift that up and smell it, it's just,
more complex. There's a lot more stuff going on with it, I think.
With the Bowman.
Yeah.
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 I think from my nose, I think there's more going on in the smell of it than the taste of it.
Yeah.
That complexity that as you take a sniff on that.
But then as you let it, like you said, go down the throat and the chest, all that stuff, you definitely pick up on little nuances.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of complexity, which is also nice. Because I don't want to sit there and be like, man, what is that? You know, I want it to be like, yep, that's good traditional bourbon. I think Willet, if it was a summertime, I think it would move on. But I think I got to agree with you and give the nod to the Bowman. And obviously, judging by how much the Willet's sitting in your class.
Yeah. If you and I got together on a Friday or Saturday night
with a Finanza,
the Bowman
the Willet might come out for the Finanza.
Yeah.
But Bowman on the weekend?
If it was wintertime like now,
or traditional bourbon,
that, and it, it's a nasty snowy day like today, that Bowman would be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm not really digging the burnt sugar today either. Maybe it's because it was in the teens this morning.
It could be.
That might be part of it too.
It could be.
So, yeah, I'm going nod to the Bowman. Bowman this week. And we'll see, like next time we'll talk about how it opens up. This one I think drank a little bit harsher than I remember it in the last fresh crack. So, they say some bottles get better, maybe some bottles get worse after you open them up.
Yeah, and then coming down into that shoulder like you were talking about.
Yep, and down into the rest of it.
Might be a little bit different.
It is a cool bottle. Like I said, I had to do it on the fresh crack because a lot of people have been wanting to try it. So,
So, question. What's the cost difference between these two? Are they similar? Are they close?
I'd call them in the same ballpark. This one was... Actually, I got these at the same store. Funny story. I got this one at the same store. The Bowman wasn't on the shelf that time.
Okay.
Yeah, 51 plus tax.
So right around.
Right within $5-10 of each other. Yep.
It's not like it's in a different class.
Which was the best that I had saw this year.
Okay.
Or no, I paid just under 50. It came up to 51 with tax. So $10. About $10 difference.
Not bad.
And at the $10 difference, if you're looking more traditional bourbon route, definitely John J. Bowman. The Willet tastes like Willet. I mean, that's the only one I've found close to that line of, taste too. So
I was like a big fan of Bullet. When I turned 30, I got a bottle of Bullet Rye for my 30th birthday, and that kind of converted me from Scotch to bourbon. So we did a bottle of Bullet this fall on the podcast, and that's one of my favorites.
Yep.
I drank it last week. But I gotta say, that might replace the Bullet.
Yeah. Definitely for a Friday nighter. Yeah.
For a Friday nighter to have in the house,
buddy or two, yep.
Just to sit there and sip on it. That's that's probably be my new go-to instead of picking up a bottle of Bullet.
Yeah. So now I gotta hunt you a Bowman.
Yeah.
So you could find one.
Yeah.
But no, and I could talk to, K&M or whatever and see if they can order it in or, maybe they get a little bit better or a different, distributor.
Well, I'll tell you this, when I'm surveying, I go through Cheshire like once a week.
Right.
So I'm just going to stop in there and the next one I see, I'll pick up.
And it's not a bad little store. I mean, like I said, sometimes like the pot still was the best I'd seen it priced all year, and it might not be that your go-to is a good price, but I told you the Bowman was.
Yeah.
And you said you were looking, it was going to be the 1792 was the one you were going to get me. Yeah. And then I was like, I've been watching too many reviews on it. I got to buy it, and I still haven't opened it. But that's the point of this, is so we can have more episodes and stuff like that. And that's why I'm trying to drink down a few of these bottles before I start opening other ones too. So, but yeah, I think, like I said, this wintertime, it's going to the John J. Bowman for the fresh crack on this episode. But yeah, I think the Willet's a good one. Definitely different. But like you said, I think it's more summertime. And I think I gravitated toward that with the other two because it wasn't as sweet as, like I said, the Blantons that got beat by the Tin Cup 10, which the Tin Cup 10 for a 10-year low proof bourbon is a nice bourbon that's under 90 proof.
I think I would enjoy the Willet better on ice.
Yeah.
Myself.
Could be.
Just water it down just a whisker.
Yep.
I typically drink...
Smooth off that little rough edge.
Yeah, I typically drink all my bourbons, whiskey, scotches on 3 cubes of ice. It's kind of my go-to.
Gotcha.
I used to drink a neat, and I just realized just watering it down just a little bit...
Pull a little different flavor.
It does. Yep. It does. And it's not a bad thing, but just different.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we want to thank everybody for hanging out for this Fresh Crack Friday. Thank you, Keith, for the Bowman. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for letting me borrow the rifle, and thanks for having me.
Yep. So the John J. Bowman will be moving on to the next Fresh Crack Friday. So we'll see what one it goes up against. If there's one you guys see here on the bar that you might want to see featured, maybe we'll do the 7092, the one that was versus the one that it was going to
Yeah.
be for the next one. So,
Sure.
yeah. Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone, for tuning in. Thanks, Keith, for coming out.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And we'll catch you all next time here on the Whitetail Whiskey Podcast, Fresh Crack Friday. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.